The empowerment of women starts with our own individual selves. If we're going to empower ourselves, we have to start with ourselves. We have to redefine the way we think about ourselves and our self-worth. And if every woman that is walking around looks at themselves as someone who is strong and who is capable, then when they look at another woman, they're going to see strength and capability in her also. That's how we can start change. When we talk about our experiences, it's one way that we can empower each other. There's a pushback in how we see each other, how we view each other. We don't give each other the worth, and we don't put enough capabilities in our own gender. We have so much different areas in our lives that we can make some adjustment or change. I think for me, as an educator, I have a classroom, I have a school that we can empower women and empower women.
Empower girls.
We are not just empowering girls; we are empowering boys to get away from the ideologies of our society,
The stereotypes.
and to create a new way of thinking. 21st century thinking is that each and every one of us has the opportunity to make a difference. Change happens in small things and in big things, and we kind of put the accountability of the things that we need to change to get ourselves, geared towards the 21st century on individuals that are in the political eye, in the entertainment industry. And we expect that they should be doing something. And we tell ourselves that, well, I'm a nobody, right? And that I can't do anything. I always tell my girls, I said, we all have a story to tell. And we all have the opportunity to write our story. And so the decisions and choices that you make is going to help to create that story. And what is your story going to say about you? Because it's important that they're contributing to society. They're saying to their generation that you can accomplish things in life despite the stereotypes that society places on your background, on your household, on your nationality, because all those are factors. I did see injustice, I did see inequality, and how women are treated and everything like that. But having someone
That bond
in
with
my
your
life that was telling me the opposite of what I was seeing and experiencing really helped me to not, immerse myself into those ideologies. And so, which is why I think it is so important that we educate our young ones at a very, very early age. You know that saying that you can't bend a tree when it's grown, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to bend it when it's a sapling.
Wow.
Right? So when we are adults, it's very hard and very difficult to change, what is entrenched in us. But if we can change our ideas, change the narrative, with our young ones, we create a better society.
Welcome to Women and Films. I am Kemi Oshukoya. We've all heard of the saying and can all agree that it takes a village to raise a child. That saying from an African proverb indicates that the successful upbringing of a child involves a communal effort that extends beyond the immediate family. That same principle can be said for balancing the scale of gender inequality in all of our societies. So, how can we, in this modern day age of technology, use this principle to build inclusive communities, societies, nations, and a world that empower, support, and encourage or gender everyone to be their very best? That answer starts with each one of us, in this case, with education, to get a better idea of how empowerment through education can help improve dialogue about gender inequality and women's rights in our society. I spoke with an educator who highlights how the conversations we have within ourselves and with those around us not only lay down the foundation for gender equality in our societies, it can help us navigate through the stormy season that pop up in our lives. What does women empowerment means to you?
What does women empowerment means to me? Each woman a voice and the opportunity to express her thoughts and her ideas. Um, Women empowerment is not just what we expect from society or others, but the values that we place on ourselves also. And I think that as we are embracing this new platform that has been in place, that a lot of push has been directed to changing our society's view on women. We address issues of equality. We address issues of how society sees us. But I feel like the empowerment of women starts with our own individual selves. That we have to empower ourselves in order for changes to be made. I think that we have to change our own ideas and our own self-worth in order for changes to occur. So, as an educator, I have the opportunity to make changes happen in my classroom.
And how do you do that?
Well, I think it's, for me, it's important that, this topic is being addressed in the classroom. And it's important that it's done in that environment because it's not just limiting the information to one gender, but it opens up the opportunity for the young boys in the classroom to get a different perspective on how women are looked at.
And how girls are also valued
Yes,
in the society.
exactly. And so, if a lot of our pushback as women has been, having these discussions in the classroom with these young generation of men, right?
Yeah.
Then when they get to be adults, how are they going to view women? And so as an educator, I have the opportunity to open up that platform in the classroom, have that discussion, and to really, get the kids to really think about what each of their role is in our society and how our actions, have impact. And, we can impact it in a positive way or in a negative way. And we have our history and life experiences that we can examine to see how we can make those positive changes.
Well, what are you seeing? What is the feedback that you're getting from your students, especially the boys? Are you seeing, because there's more of a national, actually universal conversation about women empowerment currently, and there's been a pushback and there's been concern also. So since you are on the forefront, at molding the lives of this young generation, what are you seeing? How are they responding to what they are hearing on television about the Me Too movement, about what people in high profile in politics are also saying? Well, what if you can share that with us?
Okay, well, the conversations that I'm able to have with the young ones is getting an understanding of where they are at first. And you can deduce a lot from what is being said at home based on the responses of the kids, both boys and girls. And so, one of the things that I haven't done this yet, but as an educator, you're constantly trying to think of ways in which you can get a clear, accurate understanding of the individual choice of your students, not just what they're influenced by at home, which is the most important learning environment for them, but also what they themselves has come to understand about the different genders. So a simple activity of doing a graphic organizer using a similarity and difference chart. How are we alike? How are we not alike? And how are we the same? Right? And as we examine a chart like that, we'll see that majority of the time the only difference is the gender, right? There are boys with long hair, there are boys that wear dresses, like our similarities are the same. And so if we are so similar, despite our gender, then why are we treated so differently? Right? And that opens up conversations about what society has done, how it has influenced our ideas, our thoughts, and getting them to think about the different figures that they've come across. In sports, it's been dominated both by male and females. In the entertainment industry. And so when they look at things that are very dominant in their day-to-day life, they're seeing a lot of things that are on equal planes. It's unfortunate that as adults, you know, we don't extend beyond that. And we have the opportunity to extend beyond that. We were talking earlier about how, for a lot of us women, that while we're influenced by society and how society views us and the male role in women's worth and empowerment, we also looked at the aspect of how that empowerment there's a pushback amongst females.
Yeah.
There's a pushback in how we see each other, how we view each other. We don't give each other the worth, and we don't put enough capabilities in our own gender.
We don't acknowledge one another.
No, we don't. And so we have so much different areas in our lives that we can make some adjustment or change. I think for me, as an educator, I have a classroom, I have a school that we can empower women, and empowered women.
Empower girls.
We are not just empowering girls, we are empowering boys to get away from the ideologies of our society,
The stereotypes.
and to create a new way of thinking. We think about the life that we are in right now, the 21st century, and as an educator you're thinking of, we gotta move with the 21st century, we gotta educate with the mindset of the 21st century, using technology.
Yeah, we're thinking more in terms of competitiveness,
Right.
of technology, of an advancement.
Right.
But we are not thinking about the human aspect of it, which is very, very important.
We advancement in our thinking, because the 21st century thinking is that each and every one of us has the opportunity to make a difference, no matter how small that is. And society has dictated to us that in order to make a difference,
You have to
in
have
order to have
power.
a voice, you need power. You need a name. You
We were
need
talking about that earlier on. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
We talked about that, like change happens in small things and in big things, and we kind of put the accountability of the things that we need to change to get ourselves geared towards the 21st century on individuals that are in the political eye, in the entertainment industry, and we expect that they should be doing something, and we tell ourselves that, well, I'm a nobody, right, and that I can't do anything.
And that goes back to what you said earlier on about not knowing our own worth
Yeah.
as a woman,
Yeah.
as a girl.
Yeah.
Because we've been taught so many times that it has become ingrained
Yeah.
in all of us that I don't count.
Yeah.
I can't make any
I
difference.
can make a difference.
And majority, more than 50% of the women population are middle class, educators like you, everyday regular people, stay-at-home moms, people,
Working moms.
working moms, and people that have regular jobs that are not in places of power, and yet, we often discount those people. And we, as you said, we put everything on the politician that we elect. That, okay, they are the one that will make the difference. Whereas we are the one that have the power to make those differences. So how do we get beyond those barriers?
I mentioned this earlier. I said that it's very difficult to change society's view on us because society and all, encompass so much, right? And so much history and, so much, culture and traditions that are embedded. So we have to start with the simplest and easiest accessible platform that we can, which is ourselves. If we're going to empower ourselves, we have to start with ourselves. We have to redefine the way we think about ourselves and our self-worth. And if every woman that is walking around looks at themselves as someone who is strong and who is capable, then when they look at another woman, they're going to see strength and capability in her also. That's how we can start change. And for a lot of women, it's just not in them. It's been ingrained in us that, we're limited with what we can do, that there is, this gender role when it comes to work, when it comes to the way we think, when it comes to how things are done. We see that in politics, right?
Mm-hmm.
You look at politics, it's majority men.
Men.
We live in a male society. We live in a society that has, for centuries, been dictating to us what our self-worth is. And we have to change our mindset. You cannot progress beyond what you are right now until you change how you think about yourself. And I think that is important, that as women we are looking and examining ourselves and telling ourselves that we are worth more. Another point to be made is when we talk about our life experiences, when we talk about what we have, gone through, our struggles or accomplishments, a lot of time we say to each other, well, it's your story, it's your life, it's your experience. And we are quick to dismiss it. Or even if we do hear it, our reaction is that, well, there goes someone telling another sad story about their life. That is something that we get a lot of. We are so dismissive of each other, and that's got to change. What they don't realize is that when we talk about our experiences, it's one way that we can empower each other. We don't have to associate someone's life experience to a negative viewpoint or having a negative impact or a sad story, which most of the case is how it is talked about, especially when you're talking to women of color and when you are talking to middle class women, working class women, when you're talking to single parents. It's there goes another sad story. It's not a sad story because educating ourselves by sharing our experiences, we are empowering each other that we can, do more than what society has led on to have us believe about ourselves. Because my life experiences, I've had very, very difficult experiences in my life, and I've been able to overcome them. So if I'm sharing my experiences with you, it's not to bring you down, it's not to tear you down, it's to build you up, it's to encourage you, it's to show that you have the same capabilities that I do. And so I'm empowering you to let you know that if I can do it, you can do it. And I have faith that you will be able to
My
accomplish it.
ability to do it.
You know?
And that's very important.
And so when we talk about changing our perspective on things, that's one of the ways that we need to make those changes, right? And I mentioned earlier that change starts with us and how we view things. And so that's another viewpoint that we need to change. That the stories that are presented to women, it's not,
It's a story.
yeah, it's not to bring us down. It's not to make us feel any less of ourselves, but it's to really empower us and to get us beyond what society has been dictating for centuries about us. And so, you know, we take that power away when we categorize these experiences as another sad story, instead of seeing them for what they are,
As
which
empowerment.
is an empowerment and learning experience that we can, use to guide us and to help us, in creating our own path.
And those things are things that too often unaware we pass it down to girls, we pass it down to our daughters. And you have you've raised amazing daughters. You were telling me about that. So what lessons have you learned that you're passing on to them?
Well, my life is a book with
I think
many chapters.
I think if you ask most women, almost every woman, our life is a book.
And our stories are all different,
Yeah.
right? Our difficulties, our triumphs, they're all similar in some way but different. I always tell my girls, I said, we all have a story to tell, and we all have the opportunity to write our story. And so the decisions and choices that you make is going to help to create that story. And what is your story going to say about you? Because it's important that they get to understand that they're a part of this, and what they do and what they say is a contribution to our society in a positive way or in a negative way. So what stories are you going to write? And so in order to get them to think about accountability, think about responsibility, then I had to lead by example. And so when I became a single parent, I had to put myself through school. I found myself back in community college with 3 girls, working full time. I eventually went on and did my undergrad, and I wanted more. So I went to grad school, and I work in education as I was doing all of this. And so for my girls, their experiences come from walking that path with me. They're able to experience that with me. And so it empowers them, it encourages them, what those life choices that I have made told them is that despite what society say
About you?
about our household, we can change that because it is so typical that when you are from a single family home, when you don't have a male figure, that there is something lacking
In your life.
in your life, and it is going to haunt you for the rest of your life, right? And I was determined to change that
Narrative, that stereotype.
exactly, about our lives, and that was through my own actions and having them experience. They were at all three of my graduations, you know.
They must be
They-
very, very proud.
Yeah, and likewise, you know, it was also that message of what can you do and what can't you do. And for me, I've always been able to use my life as an example to say, listen, I did college later on in life. I didn't work in 2 jobs taking care of you guys. So if you are home and you have the support, what is preventing you
From doing that.
from doing that? Because you have a lot more than I did, but somehow I was able to do it, right?
Yeah.
So there is just no excuse for you to not do it. And at a very young age, they understood. And I've always tell them that every single degree that I've earned has my name on it. It's mine. It's my accomplishment. So what you do in college is for you. It's for your accomplishment. Because at the end of the day, as supportive as I am to you, only your name is going to be on the paper.
Yeah, on that paper.
And they needed to understand how important these life decisions and choices that they're making and the impact it has.
And the
Because
consequences.
they're contributing to society. They're saying to their generation that you can accomplish things in life despite the stereotypes that society places on your background, on your household, on your nationality, because all those are factors, right? I have to go beyond just, the basic ideologies of our society, but I had to take them back to my roots and where I'm from. Being a woman in this country, being an immigrant in this country, these are all strikes against you. So you have to, defy the odds, right? You have to work against something that is deeply entrenched in our society. But only you
Can do it.
can do it. Nobody else can do it for you.
So, you represent so many women in not just America, in all society. Mothers carry majority of the weight. Even those who are married, who remain married, will carry majority of the weight. And yet, we are undervalued in all society. And the message that you're passing on to your kids, to your girls, are very, very important. To not be defined not just by their circumstances or the label that the society might decide to put on them, and to rise above that. My question to you is, where do you find that strength? And for women that out there that are looking that I can't do it, it's tough out there. Where does that strength come from? You mentioned to me your faith is a huge part of it,
Yes.
and other than that, where that strength and what advice will you?
That I have.
Yeah,
Um, I think if you ask my mom that question, she would probably say, well, she came out that way. She was just always strong-willed, but I am one of 7, and I have 3 older brothers. And from a very young age, I had a very strong sense of right and wrong and justice. And I always felt like my gender didn't define me as a kid. I mean, there are times that you go through life where you feel that there are limitations because of, the circumstances that you're in, or, how others make you feel. But for me, at a very young age, I had a strong sense of equality, and that was fostered with having 3 older brothers who is constantly telling you, you can't do that, you're a girl. And me wanting to defy the odds and tell myself, whatever it is that you can do, I can do. Fortunately for me, I had a brother that we were a year apart, and we were very close, and he was very determined to show me that whatever he can do, I can do it. And it stems from that strong bond of companionship between my brother and I, that we were inseparably. Growing up, we did the same thing. We put ourselves in situations that was not always favorable, but we were determined to get through it together. And you don't think about the little things that happen in your life and how it shapes and molds you, right? And outside of this conversation with you, it's only when I have those quiet moments to myself that I really think about how things in my childhood really shape and mold my ideas and thoughts. Because I did see injustice, I did see inequality, and how women are treated and everything like that. But having someone
That bond
in
with
my
your
life that was telling me the opposite of what I was seeing and experiencing really helped me to not, immerse myself into those ideologies. And so, which is why I think it is so important that we educate our young ones at a very, very early age. You know that saying that you can't bend a tree when it's grown, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to bend it when it's a sapling.
Wow.
Right? So when we are adults, it's very hard and very difficult to change, what is entrenched in us. But if we can change our ideas, change the narrative, with our young ones, we create a better society. And so as a parent, I felt like it was my duty to educate my kids, because they're going to be in the classroom and they're going to get teachers from all different aspects that have their own ideology and embraces a lot of what society says.
Yeah.
So it was important that as they were going through those different, milestones in their life, elementary, middle, high school, that narrative was consistent about who they are and what their value and worth is. Because it was not, for me, the job of others to educate my kids, but for me. And I have life experiences to bring to the table. Our everyday life was, an opportunity for them to use, to really understand, and to be a part of that experience, further, their own, ideas and thoughts, and help to mold and shape, the type of young ladies that they would be to society. And so my courage, I think my strength comes from looking at the glass half full all the time. I always said that my life experiences are exactly that. They're experiences. They don't define me. They're not written in stone. Something happens, whether that is, something positive or something negative, I can learn from that, and I can change the outcome, right? Because I'm learning from things. It's only when we, you know, apply the things that we've learned that we're able to grow. And so I never try to look at my life and my struggles as an excuse, but I look at it as an opportunity to grow and to overcome. And so this is what happened. Okay, what am I going to do next? You know, um, you know, and I've gone through some. I mean, I could get into some very serious situations that I've gone through and I've experienced. And if I sit down and open up about those, most people would think it's beyond what I could experience or far fetched.
Yeah, I think that like most women, we're so used to get up, put on the makeup, dress well, and get going.
Yeah.
And we don't get opportunity to tell our story or share our story. And sometimes I think it comes from the society telling us that our story doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And we matter.
We do.
And those stories matter.
Yes.
And I think in you sharing your story, sharing your experience, we empower other women, because when we share with one another, we not only comfort one another, we not only encourage one another, we empower one another. We acknowledge that, hey, I see you, you matter. And when we start doing that to one another, men can join in. We have the Me Too movement going on now, and men are beginning to acknowledge that they need to change certain things, certain behavior that are not acceptable. So, but it has to start with us acknowledging one another and demanding what we want from the society. So, well, what I'm also hearing from you is that gender equality, in order for it to happen, we need men to join the fight, to encourage. We need fathers to encourage their daughters.
Yeah.
We need brothers to encourage their sisters. We need husbands to support their wives. We need, friends to support friends and say, I hear you, I see you, you matter to me.
Yeah.
So thank
Absolutely.
you. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
You're welcome.
They say if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Perhaps what today modern world need are modern villages where everyone share experiences, provide support, and encourage one another to create a better society and world, and for the sake of the next generation. To make women's rights and gender equality a reality in our society, we can start now by thinking, what can I do to support your journey, to be part of your Together, let's make gender equality a reality. That's the end of this episode. To watch video of previous episode, go to our website, theafricabazaar.com, and please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Until next time, remember, stay open to new experiences, get involved in your community, and encourage one another. I am Kemi Oshukoya. I will see you next time.